Deep down in the depths of the World Wide Web lies a parlor of peace, positivity, and a little pinch of enchantment. It's a place where you can kick back and have fun, back to a time when TV was magical. Close your eyes and you'll find your way there. You've made it. Welcome to Tea Telly. And now that crazy singing Zen priestess cat lady cook, the Willy Wonka to your Charlie, come on in and say hello to Maria.
Do not adjust your set. It is me. Hey, everybody. How are you? Good to see you. It is so good to be here. Wow, it's been a while. I'm going to do a stream later on as to kind of why I took a little bit of a break. But in the meantime, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to have these guests on with me tonight. So I wanted to make sure to be here. And good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Yes, I changed my scenery a little bit because the little guys, the little furry guys were running around like crazy, and I didn't want them knocking my camera off, as you've seen it done before. But good to see you. Hello, Miss Alicia. Good to see you, my wrench, and Dr. O. Good to see you. And thanks for being here. Eldridge, good to see you. And Connie, also good to see you as well. Hello, everybody. Saying hello to everybody. And wow, look at this, Miss Connie. Remember for 25 months. Oh my gosh. Where is the time gone? Thank you so much for being a member. And wow, I feel honored. Thank you so much for that. I just realized that last month was my 4-year anniversary. So with the show, but I don't want to be the only one talking here. So I'm going to bring my guests on and have them join me. Thanks again, Ms. Connie. So good to see you. And let me see, where am I at? It's been a while, so I'm trying to figure out where all the buttons are. That's funny, like my first time. So first of all, I'm going to bring in, some of you may recognize her, and I'm missing her beautiful face here on the other end of the camera. I want to bring on Miss Tracy. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, so good to see you.
You too. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. You just got gorgeouser since
You too.
seen you last. Good to see you. Definitely missed you, but also at the same time, super happy. Sorry, cat hair stuff. Super, I know, it never ends. Super happy for what you've been doing since you have gone. And I've had people say, where's Tracy? Where's Tracy? Well, you know what? Tracy, went on to something pretty amazing. And I'm really happy for her on this because it's what she wants to do. It's what makes her happy. And I didn't do enough of these on my show. I hit them like once a month, if that even. And this is something that's near and dear to Tracy's heart. And I'll explain that soon as I bring in her partner in crime here. And and thank you so much for joining us, Bruce.
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. Good to see you. I am never going to get this guy. I'm picking on it all night, aren't I? Yeah. But thanks, Sus, for taking the time to come here and grace us with your presence here. I was excited when I saw this show on YouTube, and I'm going to explain a little bit more where other people where they can get to see it as well in other places. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have amazing guests and amazing shows, and you do awesome stuff. So I thought I'm going to have to let the community know that you're there, because I don't want them to miss this. And that way I can have everybody add you on there. And I forgot to give my wrench the link, but I'll take care of that. Alicia, sorry. I'm so prepared. But let me see. Let me get down here to a few things, catch up here. Oh, here it is. Thanks, Dr. Roy. I didn't even At him backstage, I'm just a mess. So this is Tracy's on X. I keep wanting to call it Twitter. It's always Twitter. And then Bruce as well. So you can keep up with what's going on with the shows and everything else. And just say hi. And then Miss Connie saying, Bruce!
Hey, Connie. How are you?
And we even have Eldridge saying, sup, Bruce?
Hello.
And Eldridge saying, Tracy, I promise to be good. And, I don't know. Well, that's okay. Tracy must know how to handle you. So, thanks again, Doctor, for putting that in here as well. The link is right here, the Ghost Gallery Podcast. And you can click there and subscribe. Now, real quick, and I'm going to stop talking because I want my guests to talk. You see on there, they've been there for a little bit. I'm going to have them talk about it, but I want those subscriptions to increase. But tell me a little bit. I'm going to start with Bruce because I haven't. This is my first time talking to him. If Bruce could explain how long you have been going and where we can find you besides YouTube.
Well, thanks, Maria. Tracy and I started the Ghostly Gallery podcast almost 2 years ago. I want to say it was May of 2023. So we're coming up on a 2-year anniversary. We just did our 75th show, which just went up live earlier today. You can find us on YouTube, also Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, a lot of different streaming platforms. What happens is we first go up with an audio program every Thursday, which Tracy puts up. And then usually a couple of weeks later, we follow with a video at YouTube. That's what we've been doing about the last year is we've had the YouTube programs, which we've added to the audio shows. And basically our podcast deals with the genre of horror within film, TV, books, popular culture. So we talk about horror films, we talk about horror on TV, popular books, new books, vintage books. We actually have a program that we're going to be taping over the weekend about some of the horror and supernatural stories that were written by Arthur Conan Doyle, who, of course, is best known for writing all the great Sherlock Holmes stories.
Nice.
So we're going to be talking to an expert, a Sherlockian, as they say, on that subject. So we delve into a lot of different areas. Some of it is current day horror. We've done shows on, two of the most recent horror films that have come out, Nosferatu, which is an absolute masterpiece. And then also we did a program. Our newest show is about half of it is about Wolfman, which just came out from Blumhouse Productions. Not as good as Nosferatu, but a film that both Tracy and I enjoyed. And we also delve into, vintage horror films that go as far back as the 1930s and 40s, and pretty much anything in between. So we try to cover as many different things as we can. We're kind of a guest-oriented show. Most shows we do have a guest, but then there are shows like this one we just did. Tracy and I talked about Wolfman, and we also looked back at the John Carpenter movie, The Fog, which came out 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So in that case, it was just me and Tracy talking and offering our thoughts and agreeing, sometimes disagreeing. A lot of times we agree, but occasionally we have disagreements on films, which is good. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. No Jerry Springer style kind of disagreement.
No.
Just okay.
No. No fights, no cursing, no screaming and yelling. We avoid political conversation at all times.
No,
we try to keep it clean, and we pretty much play it straight, but we have fun with it too. We'll joke around when it's appropriate. We have fun with our guests, but we, for the most part, we try to run a nice, clean, tight show.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It is very entertaining. And I think it's awesome when you do have one agreeing, one disagreeing. not afraid to do that because it just shows that, you can actually agree to disagree and get along and do well doing it. And everybody has a point of view, and I think it works that way. So nothing wrong with that at all. And Greg, thank you for being here. Really want to see Nosferatu. So you did see, Tracy, did you see the new one?
Absolutely. It's definitely worth everybody's time to go watch that Nosferatu. I don't know if it's still in the theaters, but you can definitely now rent it through, I think it's Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And awesome movie. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I at first when I had heard about them, like, how can they improve on the classic? I am a classic kind of gal. I think I was born a long time ago, and so that's why my bones are creaking now because I'm a little old. But I just love the classics, and I didn't know that they could top the brilliance of the original silent Nosferatu. And I saw the previews for it, and I haven't had a chance to go see it, but I want to because I've heard so much about it. If anything, I heard that the popcorn buckets were awesome.
I did hear that too.
So with the popcorn, I'm like, I want to go for the popcorn bucket. I'll make it worth my dime. But let's see. I want to make sure I'm keeping up with the chat here. And if you hear a little thumping, it's because Muffin's trying to get in.
Oh.
He doesn't like that I locked him out. He's like, Mom. Yeah. Let's see. Good one to see. Yeah. And I told you I was going to be picking on this all night. So yeah, that's one of the things that I thought was awesome, that you would have various platforms, and I wanted to make sure that they were aware of that, because everybody can listen differently, whether it's in their car or in the office or whatever. It doesn't strictly have to be just on YouTube. And I wanted to make the point that you've been around for a while and are in all these places, and I didn't want them thinking, well, the sometimes people look at the YouTube and they say, oh, they don't, they're not up in the millions or whatever. That's not the case. It's not what's important in here in this sense, because a lot of times people can have their broadcast in various places and be doing so well there, and then they just add the YouTube. So I wanted the community to add the YouTube part of it, so that way they can catch all the shows. Let me see. Or all the copies of film destroyed. Wow. That's the other thing about your shows is you got a lot of history in it, a lot of information that people don't often get when you get reviews and things like that. Tell me, Tracy, how and when to find you. I mean, when to find you mostly.
So our audio podcasts usually they do drop on Thursdays, usually at 5 a.m. Eastern time. And our YouTube videos, they go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. And I have to get the time conversions right, but 7 p.m. Eastern. And they're really great. Our guests have been so phenomenal, and yeah, it's always a treat. I'm always learning new things, and Bruce is such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to a lot of the old school stuff and the history, and exploring new programs and new movies I haven't seen before. So it's fabulous.
It is. I tell you, one thing that always attracts people is ghosts. And that's something that you loved to do a lot. Tracy, are you still ghost hunting?
Yeah, still do it, and not as often as I used to. The group owner of our paranormal team, he's kind of stepped away a little bit, but it's really hopeful that we'll be able to get back at it this summer, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Bruce, do you go?
I'm not a ghost hunter, but I do actually host a ghost tour in
Oh,
my hometown, Cooperstown, New York. It's called Cooperstown Candlelight Ghost Tours, and we start up in April. Still cold here. We have a few tours in April, but it starts to heat up in May and June and July.
mm-hmm.
And we go all the way through Halloween evening. We offer most nights throughout the summer and the fall. And we do a walking ghost tour of the village of Cooperstown. There's about 6 different stops along the way, including the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's a local graveyard we go to, several haunted houses. We also talk about a wonderful old building called Hyde Hall, which is up on the other end of the lake that we have in town, Lake Otsego. So I'm not a ghost hunter per se, but I love doing the ghost tour. We've been doing it for 20 years now, and have a lot of fun with it. Meet a lot of really nice people. It's a good time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to one. I think it would be awesome to do that. I did a little bit of ghost hunting myself as well, and I'm trying to stop this thing from moving along here. And it was a lot of fun as well. And I always wondered, would something happen while I was actually doing that? And I think that's what everybody likes to know. Like, have you ever had anything happen while you were doing those tours?
Yeah. I myself have not seen a ghost or had an experience, but we've had several people on the tour. We go to a graveyard. We've had probably 4 or 5 people who claim they've seen ghosts in the graveyard. These are people who have that so-called sixth sense. They can see the other world. We've had people look into some of the houses featured on the tour, and they say they've seen
Nice.
strange faces, not necessarily human faces, in some of the windows. I remember years and years ago, we had a teenage girl who was standing outside of a house. I was talking about the house on the tour, and she then felt somebody pulling on her hair. And there was
Wow.
probably nobody within 4 or 5 feet of her. So we've had some
Oh my
strange
gosh.
experiences that some of the visitors have had on the tour. Again, I can't say that I myself have
Yeah.
had an experience, but certainly some of the paying
Or that
customers
you
have.
know of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or that you know of. You might have but then brushed it off as we do is,
that
oh,
could
that
be.
was just the wind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so busy trying to tell the stories, concentrating on that, I may not notice everything that goes on around us. We haven't really, on any of the shows, we haven't really done anything about the ghosts of Cooperstown, the ghosts of upstate New York.
Mm.
But I think at some point we probably should, and I think probably will. We have talked on one early episode to Tracy about her ghost hunting activities,
Mm-hmm.
and we should probably try to return to that at some point. So it's not a theme we often approach on the show, but it's certainly, I think, something in the back of my mind that I'd like to do at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you do have definitely various things that you do, which is awesome in the sense that you get that variety. It's not always going to be the exact same thing, which, you know, it works for some subjects, but there are others that need more elaboration. And I love the fact that you include literature and various other things like that too, because it's just they always tie in together in
Yeah.
one way or another. And I like that. And I'm an old-fashioned kind of gal. I love the books and holding them. And so if there's ever any books that we can see, I told you. Sorry. If there's ever any, recommendations and things like that, I would love to know, because that's
Sure.
pretty much how I've had the ability to get books. And I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because I might have you repeat a couple things, and I apologize, but I kind of always linger a little bit for the people who come in later. Right now we have about 200 viewers. So
Nice.
I'm trying to welcome those who've come in, and they usually come in like me late. And so I have a question for Miss Tracy here. Did you enjoy the last Ghostbuster film that
I
was made?
haven't seen it yet.
Oi.
So that's bad on me. I haven't seen that one, but I'll have to put that on my list. My watch list is super huge, though. It's pages and pages, so I will add that one to it.
What is your favorite subject in your show to do that you like? I mean, I'm sure they're all, it's a hard question because they're all great, but I guess there's always something that really draws you in and why you do what you do. And Tracy first.
Oh my goodness. It's so interesting. Well, there's so many things that are interesting, but just to talk to a lot of the people that we've had an opportunity to connect with. One of my all-time favorite TV series was The Strain. And it's like an excellent vampire type TV show.
Yeah.
And we had a chance to speak to an actor from that program, Richard Sammel. And it was just so fascinating to hear from him. And not just about the TV show that he participated in, but his entire life. And it's so great to hear the stories behind the people and the stories behind the actors and just the stories behind the history. So it's just, there's so much, and just to have that chance is phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
I bet. Because you make great friends through that process, and it's always good to have. And I think that's one of the things that is great when your guests come on. You could tell they're comfortable, they enjoy what they're doing, they like what they're talking about. And so it shows. And you guys have to go see some of the past ones and the guests that they've had. They've been great. And how about you, Bruce?
Well, that show with Richard Sammel was a blast. We had him on from his home in France, so there was a big time difference, but he was phenomenal. I remember going in, Tracy was a little worried that, our contact with him had strictly been through email. And Tracy was like, I hope this isn't somebody pretending to be him. But then when he showed up on screen, we knew that he was the same guy. He was essentially the lead vampire in that show, The Strain.
Right.
And that was a great hour. That was a lot of fun. Some other really good people we've had on are some actors. A guy that lives not too far from where I am, Richie Coster, is a great character actor. He's been in The Dark Knight. He's in the new TV show Watson. He plays Shinwood Johnson, who is kind of the aide to Dr. Watson. That show just debuted on Sunday. We've had him on a couple of times. Lou Temple, a very fine actor, who's been in many horror films, including The Devil's Rejects. He gave us a great show. It was probably one of our longest shows, but it was a lot of fun. We talked to him for a good hour and a half. I think in terms of subject matter, Maria, probably my favorite subjects are the classic horror films from the 1930s, Frankenstein, Dracula, Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, and then also from the era when I grew up, 1970s, 1980s. I love talking about horror from that era.
Yeah.
But those are some of my favorite. But one of the great things about the show is that we sometimes bring in people who talk about subjects we don't know a lot about. For example, we have this Sherlock Holmes expert coming up, and I don't know a lot about Sherlock Holmes. I'm not an expert on it at all, but I've been doing a lot of research to prepare for the show, and it's really fascinating stuff. And I think both Tracy and I are probably going to learn a lot from this guest, Max McGee, coming up on our Sherlock Holmes show. So every week we're somehow able to connect with someone who has tremendous knowledge in a particular area, and it's almost always fascinating for us.
Yeah, I bet that would be exciting. It is.
Yeah.
It is fun to have them give us a little bit more. When you watch a movie and then it ends, you want that little bit. when you have that guest on, that's that little bit, that's that little bit that you're looking for. Just for some reason, it's just a psychological thing. And Bruce, Man After My Own Heart, I love those. They're the classics. And oddly enough, but when I go to bed at night, I set my TV on the timer, and you're not going to believe this. I go to sleep and I drift off to the Vincent Price ones.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And I have them all kind of in a little row, and I already know which one it's going to stop on by the time I nod off. But I start off with Vincent Price's black and white version, House on Haunted Hill, and then his the Bat is next, and then by that time I'm already getting sleepy and tired. But isn't it weird that those are the comforting? They were great, but comforting movies to the point where I'm using that to go to sleep.
Yeah, that is interesting. Vincent Price, obviously, long passed away, but luckily his legacy is still there. His daughter, Victoria, is an author, public speaker, and I'm still hoping at some point to get her on as a guest. I met her at a horror convention about 6 or 7 years ago, and she was wonderful to talk to. And she was actually excited to talk to me when she found out that I work at the Baseball Hall of Fame, because she's a huge baseball fan. And she told me that her father was a huge baseball fan. And she actually gave me a photo of her father playing the role of vendor at Dodger Stadium back in the 1960s. They decided to have some fun with that. I guess he did it for a couple of innings. They took photographs of him, and he looked like he was having a great time, selling hot dogs or handing out hot dogs and popcorn and other food items. So that was wonderful to learn that, Vincent Price, one of the great horror actors of all time, also a huge baseball fan. And it was really nice to talk to Victoria. I haven't seen her since, but I do hope we'll get her on at some point.
That'd be great.
Well,
Tracy's
Bruce.
like, I can't wait. She gets to be there.
Well, Bruce has had so many cool connections between the horror genre and baseball just over the course of the podcast that, we've done already. Like, there's been so many different connections. It's spooky, actually.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. I love it. I don't do sports often, but baseball has been one of the ones that I have done. On my shelf over here on this side, I've got like 900 Stan Musial signed baseballs.
Oh, wow.
Because my ex-stepfather-in-law was friends with them. So every time he'd come into the shop, he'd always say, "Here, take another one." You're like, I have all the baseballs I can use. but it's really an awesome thing. And like he signed every picture, everything. It's nice to have. Sam Musial was awesome. And so,
Are you from St. Louis?
No, I'm born and raised Colorado.
Okay.
My ex-husband was St. Louis.
Okay.
And introduced me to the love of watching it from the stadium. So my first baseball experience was at the St. Louis Stadium, eating their expensive hot dogs and enjoying it there. So I was a St. Louis Cardinals fan. So but anyway, let me see. I want to catch up with the. Thank you. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. That'd be quite the just to have that connection with her, because Vincent Price has always been one of my most favorites. He's so talented. I just love the man so much, and his voice is the one that soothes me. I'm like, Daddy, put me to sleep.
Here's an interesting connection. Vincent Price, his last film he ever did was early 1990s, so around 92, 93, I think, just before he passed away. And it was Edward Scissorhands. And he actually plays Edward Scissorhands' creator. And Victoria Price has a very small role, but she's in the film. I think she plays a reporter, if I'm not mistaken. So she's in the film briefly. And she hasn't done a lot of acting. She's more of a writer, public speaker, travels around the country. But really interesting that in his last film, Victoria happened to be part of the cast too, and I think that's really cool.
That's awesome. And
Nice.
I love that film, and he did really well with that. And his one thing I loved about him was he did not seem so snotty that he had to have the best, scripts ever, because some of his movies were a little bit out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
You're like, Miss Price, what happened there? But I think he just wanted to have fun. That's what acting is, and he seemed to have that. Like he must have been a blast to hang out with.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories about that. But we have. I want to take a moment here to welcome the guests that are still coming in. We went up now to 400 and something viewers. So they some of them get a little bit shy and they don't always go into the chat, but that's okay. I'm watching you. But anyway, so that's why I might have you repeat a couple things here, but I'm gonna pull up again where to subscribe. I want to make sure people are doing just that. While I am on here, sorry, I'm looking at my other screen. I wanted to pull. I don't know if you can hear that. I didn't. That's an accident here. Did you guys hear that? I was playing a
No.
video and the sound came out.
No.
Okay, good. Because
No.
I was like, I don't want to get striked for something. Okay. Oh, like I get to see that happening. That's happened before. Let's see. Yeah, I always wanted to meet him. He looks like a tall drink of water. Let me see. There it is again. Thank you, Dr. O, for putting that in again. For those who didn't see it, because it's kind of far up there in the chat that are coming in here, those quiet viewers sitting there enjoying your tea, watching us here. This is live, by the way. It's not a recording, just so you know. Please click that subscribe button in that channel and catch those shows. Seriously, the shows are amazing, and I'm struggling with my words here because I don't want to sound mean. There are some channels that you go to occasionally, and they do have things that that are fun, once in a while, because not every channel is your cup of tea. And so but this one I go to often because it is a lot of fun. The guests are great, the stories are great, and I do find myself coming back on it often. And so that's why I think people would enjoy that. I think looks like Mr. PJ's entered the room, saying hello to everybody. Hello, PJ.
Hey, there's someone we know, Orville Nation.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
that's Soul Nation.
Yes.
Yep. Saying hi. Isn't it past his bedtime? But so I appreciate him coming in here to say hello. So thank you, PJ, for stopping in here. Let's see, there was somebody else. Yes, everybody's saying hello. So, okay, making sure I'm not losing track of what I'm doing. Okay, and let me see, I'm checking time. And I keep wanting to play a little something, but that's why I wanted it in the background, just so they can kind of see it a little bit. But I'm always afraid to get, you guys are going to come after me for a strike. I'll get shut up in the middle of my stream.
Oh my gosh.
That's happened before. So let me see. So let me see what else. And if you all have questions in there, please put them in. Thank you, Dr. O, for the questions. And I have one that just came up here.
Oh, this here. Oh, this is actually, it's an Anubis statue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Anubis.
I like that.
Yeah. My real creepy doll is just on the other side of the desk, and it's kind of like a creepy Cabbage Patch-esque type doll that I did get for Christmas, but she's over on the other
Nice.
side. Yeah,
Hmm.
but that's
Well,
Anubis.
I think what he was talking about, and don't kick me under the table for doing this, but he's gone for those on those two heads back there, and I think they're part of a poster.
Oh, they are. Those are the twins from The Shining.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
get back over here to my see, I told you my I haven't done these buttons in such a long time. So there I go. I thought it was on the
I was
buttons.
starting to panic, Maria. I'm like,
You're
get me
like-
off the screen.
Grab your cat and start hand puppets. I know, I hate that too. Dr. Seuss's, that would give me nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys collected, speaking of, Bruce, I know you're so lucky you get to do so much and see so much, and you too, Tracy. Have you guys been able to collect anything in the process of this that you keep during the process of the show? Like, have you gotten anything?
Did you want to go first, Bruce? Tell everybody about your collection.
Yeah, actually, I have our former guest room here at the house is now the horror room. And that's where I showcase a lot of the memorabilia that I've collected that my wife and daughter have bought for me. So we've got pictures up on the wall. We've got various statuettes and figurines that are on display, and Frankenstein heads and things of that nature. Also, one of the things I love to do is read, and I have a collection of books about the genre of horror. And certainly, whenever we have a guest on who's a writer, I try to buy a copy of the book if I don't have it already. Sometimes I'm able to go out and meet these people and get them to autograph the book. Give you an example, we had a guy named Mark Dawidziak on during our first year, and he had just written a really wonderful biography of Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice.
And he has previously written books about the Twilight Zone and about the Night Stalker TV series. And when he came out to the Rod Serling Fest, which takes place in September in Binghamton, not far from where I am in Cooperstown, I knew he was going to be there. He was one of the guest speakers, so I was able to bring some of my books out, have him sign those. So I love to collect books, and one of the guests that we had on, and sadly he passed away only a few months after he was on the show. Just a great guy and wonderful historian on horror, David Scull. And I have a lot of David's books, and some of them are autographed, some are not. But when we have someone on who is a great writer, like a David, it's important for me not just to support them financially by buying them the book, but also because they're such good writers, and they have something that can provide value in terms of entertainment, but also as references. I mean, I've used some of the books from writers like David Scull and Greg Mank, another guy I've met at horror conventions. I've used these resources, these reference materials, to prepare for other shows that we've done. So that's something I really enjoy doing, is just collecting books from great writers, historians, authors. We try to get them on the show as much as we can as well. So that's another really fun aspect of it.
Yeah. That I bet you don't have enough bookshelves.
No, absolutely not.
Me neither. I'm like, where do I put this? I want to put this somewhere. No, I do the same thing too. And I think it's important. I keep encouraging people also to read. For me, I'm, like I said, the old fashioned. I've got to have the book in my hand. I love the smell of books. But these, writing is hard.
Yeah.
And well, for me, because I'm dyslexic, but writing is hard. And so anytime somebody has and puts time and effort into writing a book and they keep going with it, it's like, wow, it is amazing for somebody to be able to connect everything from beginning to end and create this story where there's no loopholes and things like that, and that it can continue on and things like that. I was intimidated by reading at first because of my dyslexia, but once I learned how to do it, I just want to read everything. And like you, I collect books as well. I have some behind me that are signed first edition by the author. And I just got, I think I kind of showed Tracy a little bit before the show, the Lou Diamond Phillips book that has a second one out. And a lot of people didn't know that he was a writer as well as an actor. And so he and his wife does the artwork for the book. She's an artist and she does a splendid job on those. And so he has the first and second book out and had to support that. So anybody who's starting out, I love supporting them and those who've been around forever. Because you know what? I don't ever want to see books go away.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
In the world of technology right now, the way things are going and the direction that things kind of go, and everybody's so used to just pushing a button and doing this and that. Books are something that we need to have and have to have. And that's how we learn about our future, is going to the past and reading what we should and shouldn't do, but also to expand our imaginations, to keep our minds running. I hate to see, I started thinking about this last night. I wonder if like people are going to start to lose their ability to retain things in their brain with all this automatic stuff we have. We're not exercising our brain.
Yeah.
So I love books in every aspect, the authors, I also, if I see a really pretty book cover, I'm like, you're coming home with me. I don't know what you're about, but yeah, I like your book cover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's just something about that physical media too, right? Just to have that in your hand. And, through the course of the conversations, I've not had a chance to kind of pick up some of the books that our guests have written yet. But I've picked up like a couple copies of some films from the independent filmmakers that we've had on the show, which is also really important too. They might not get that big theatrical presentation, but the independent film creators are a huge part of the community, and to be able to watch their films and then buy the physical media, I think is just super. We've had some really great conversations with, Harrison Smith and Ansel Farage, and their films are super amazing. We just had a show with James Chick, who had the movie Feet of Death, which is a Bigfoot movie. What a cool movie. Like it was beautifully shot. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And now I have to go buy a copy because it was just released on DVD, Blu-ray DVD. So I'll have to add that to my collection soon. But it's just to have that piece of something in your hand, right?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that you're buying the physical media, because that's something else that we need to keep alive as well. And that you have it to reference to, and also just to support that. And independent filmmakers, oh my gosh, how many times have you fallen in love with a movie that happened to be made by an independent filmmaker that ended up being one of your favorites? And I think that people need to discover independent filmmakers, because they work harder to get it out there, but they also have one heck of an imagination, just like the book writers. Their films are amazing, and I support independent filmmaking and filmmakers as well. Hang on one second. Let me catch up with the chat here. Hey, Memes, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I wanted to say hi to those coming in. And then PJ here, big Tracy fan, $5 super chat just to say, we love Tracy. Heart, heart, heart. So thank you, PJ. Yeah, it is always good to see Tracy, and that's how I've seen her, even though we haven't talked. See? I'm still picking on it. Oh, it's been an hour and I'm still trying to find it. So, God. Okay, so Anyway, if you're enjoying the content, please give it a like. Yeah, those algorithms, I'm telling you. Game says physical media is king. Yes, I do think so as well. And it's sad that I can't find some of those classics. And I'm trying to get my hands on some of those as well. And let me see. Digital media sounds like to keep the file and not renting it. Yeah, that's even scary too, because if you read the fine, extra fine print, they can actually take it from you anytime. You don't own it. They can snag it.
True.
Even if you think you buying it and you think you own it, you don't. So you need to get that physical media. That's happened before to some people where they thought they bought a movie and they owned it and it was gone. It's like, hey, you can't take that. Yeah, we can, because you didn't read the print on the very, very, very bottom. So another super chat, and and we love Bruce too.
$2.
I knew he was gonna say that. I was waiting for it. I was like, he's gonna say something like, "Oh, I get $2, huh?" But actually, Bruce, let me tell you something that'll make you feel better. Today, I read an article that there are $2 bills out there worth lots and lots of money. So he may be giving you $2, but it could be that one that's worth thousands. So
Yeah. Do they still make the $2 bill?
I haven't seen. I had a couple, and but I haven't seen them in circulation. I don't know that they're still making them.
Oh, do you guys have $2 coins down in the States?
It's actually a bill, a $2 bill. I haven't seen. I haven't even hardly seen the dollar coin. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Oh, neat.
But yeah, I'm gonna kick myself if the person I gave it to is like, "Oh yeah, this is the one that you gave me, and it's worth thousands." Thanks, Maria. I'll be like, "Can I was just gonna let you borrow it. That's all." But yeah, so I just thought I'd like the way I slid that in, Bruce. Made you feel special.
Very good.
That was
Thanks.
Was it good? Okay, there you go. All right. Let me see. It's really hard to find copies, so I'll try to watch Mr. Frost with Jeff Goldblum if you can. Bootleg copy. I don't. Mr. Frost
seen
with
that
Jeff
one.
Goldblum.
No,
I
me neither.
don't even know. I didn't even know Jeff Goldblum did that.
He is in one of the most frightening horror films I've ever seen. And I don't think I'll ever watch it again because it was physically difficult to watch. And that was The Fly, which I think came out in 1986. And I think I saw it in the late 80s on cable.
Yeah.
And it was so stomach turning for me. I don't think I've watched it since. Not that it's a bad movie, but it is physically difficult to get through that. It's one of those David Cronenberg body horror films. And that's the one kind of horror that really gets to me.
Yeah. You know what? I think you're the first one who's ever said that The Fly was difficult to watch in that sense, because it is one of the films that's always brought up when you bring up classic. And gosh, is it called classic now? Jeez, films. The Fly is one of the ones that's always come up, and he did a great job in that.
Yeah, the original film with Vincent Price, I want to say it came out in the early 60s. And it's a horror movie, but it's not graphic at all. And then David Cronenberg did this remake in the mid 80s with Jeff Goldblum as the guy who slowly but surely turns into a fly. And man, it is hard to get through. It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember that part. He did it so well. Like you almost felt like,
oh, he's great in the movie.
It's
just the content is just brutal. Ooh.
Yeah. You watched it for the first time a few months ago? Wow. Yeah. And let me see. Oh, let's talk about the money here. The original 50s Fly on TV. Then saw the film in theaters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Eric Schultz. Remember him? I'm checking time here. We still have like a good number of people in here, so I'm like watching time, but I'm also making sure everybody has a chance to see this. Mr. Frost is a dark movie, but it's more psychological horror.
Well, that psychological horror is a really good topic. Um, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Lodge. That that was a really great film. Um, Bruce and I had varied opinions on that one, but really good psychological horror.
Yeah, that I like psychological horror as well. I'm more of the it. Please ease up on the blood and guts because that's
Mhm.
not what gets me. It's the psychological thing. Even going back to Halloween, the very first one, the original one,
Mm.
Mm.
how quiet it was. And there are things you missed in it that you didn't realize until later on, like when she's standing by the door and huffing and puffing, and he slowly creeps up behind her, and you just say, you didn't see that the first time because you were too busy being scared about other stuff. But then when you saw it again, you're like, oh my gosh, you know. So it was brilliant. It was just very. There wasn't a lot of blood and guts in it, but it was quiet. It was scary because those are definitely my favorites, the psychological ones as well. I had another point to make, but I'm trying to catch up with this chat. Hang on a sec. Yeah, they need to go back to Hitchcock and learn how it's done properly. I think so too.
Well, I think Tracy would agree with me that neither of us really are big fans of violent horror, blood
Mhm,
and guts and,
mhm,
Yeah.
slasher movies that just go
mhm.
to an extreme.
Yeah.
That's not what we're about. We really are not
Mhm,
big fans of that.
No, exactly. I mean, there's so many great horror films out there that there's basically no blood at all. Like I recently watched one. It was called Humanity, and it was
Mm.
I believe her name was Caitlin Cronenberg, so David Cronenberg's daughter. Um,
Right.
actually did this film, and it was phenomenal. It was a little bit of comedy, dark comedy mixed with it, and it was like perfect. I think there might have been like one little tiny bloody scene, but there was enough humor to overpower that.
yeah.
So you don't have to have, gurgles of blood and
Mhm.
buckets of
Yeah.
bodies. You don't need to
Ooze.
have
More
that.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's all about what you don't see
Yeah.
is the scariest, right?
The
Yeah.
suggestion of it is
Yeah.
you don't know. It's like entering a dark room and you don't know what's in there, and you're
That's
feeling
scary.
around.
Tracy,
Yeah.
you remember that movie that came out in the spring last year, Abigail, about the young
Oh,
vampire?
yes.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
And that was a film that I thought could have been very good. It had Kevin Durand, who is a fine actor,
That's
but was
right.
Mhm.
totally misused in the movie. And it was just so overly violent. There was
Yeah.
just so many buckets of blood that it was
Mhm.
way too much. And I know a lot of people like that film, but I was not a big fan, and I don't think Tracy was either.
Yeah, not particularly. I mean, first of all, they gave so much away in that little trailer, like that 2-minute trailer.
Yeah.
It was hard to spend money on the movie to go see it.
Yeah, you're like,
But
I saw it.
oh, you turn around and every 20 seconds it was just like blood everywhere. And
Yeah,
it was just like,
yeah,
right.
yeah. You're right. Even for
Yeah.
me, and I even thought that too. I'm like, geez, Louise, how much did the most of the budget go to the blood? Because
Oh
there
my
was a
gosh.
Yeah.
lot.
But the little
And
girl was great, like Abigail,
yeah,
like, what
Oh
a
yeah.
fabulous little actress
yeah.
and, like,
Yeah.
a great little ballerina dancer, but,
Hmm.
yeah, it was, definitely kinda on the gory side, which is
Yeah,
not
it
really
was.
great.
Because you can make, I mean, I love vampire movies. They're one of my all-time favorites, but you
Mhm.
can make a vampire movie without having to overdo all the blood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anne Rice does a great job with her
Yeah.
vampires that
Oh,
they,
yeah.
um, that they're vampires, but you don't need to see them butchering up somebody. Even going all the way back to the classics, and those are my favorites as well.
Mhm.
So, and well, I was going to mention a movie. Oh, one thing I like about books and movies is you always hear, I read the book, but I haven't seen the movie. I saw the movie, but I never read the book. That's hard to find someone who does the movie exactly as the book. They're always going to stray
Yeah.
a little bit, but they can still be just as good. But there's one, I listen to some British channels, BBC radio, where they do where they act it out in voice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love those. And I listened to The Lady in Black, and I
Oh,
could
nice.
not go to sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, they did such an amazing, brilliant job doing that. And then later, when I saw that there was a movie that Mr. Harry Potter himself was in, Daniel Radcliffe, I thought, oh, well, I'll just take a watch. But it was brilliantly done as well. And that one didn't have a lot of gore and guts. Have you seen that one, The Lady in Black?
Oh, I love that. It's been
Oh,
a
do you?
really long time since I've seen it, but you brought up a great point of like the audio dramas too.
Mhm.
I haven't really gotten into a lot of those, but it's something that it would be great to tune into as you're trying to rest and relax and get ready for bed, right? So I might
As
have
long
to
as you
add
can
that
go
to
to
my
sleep.
routine. I know, right?
I seriously listen to. I love them. They're comforting. They're awesome. They do such a great job. BBC Radio 4. Great to listen to. I can listen to their weather forecasts, and they're amazing. But they do have a huge selection, and horror is one of them. The suspense and things like that, and I love
Oh,
that. But
interesting.
they're really sometimes a bit scary, and I'm like, oh my god, turn on the lights. I'm just like, Oliver, I can't go to sleep now. So you got to listen to those. Dean Koontz, one of my other favorite writers that my bookshelf is full of. I love
Mm,
Dean Koontz. He's a big.
yeah, he's
Author's
another
funny.
good author.
Mm-hmm. He did that. It was which that one that did went from book. Was it Dave called David? The one, the guy. Oh my gosh, how can I not remember this? The guy who had psychic abilities or something like that. That one, I couldn't believe how close it was from the movie to the book. They did a great job on that. Incredible. To the series went more like, yeah. I'm checking the time here because we're getting close to it, and I kept waiting for people to say, "Okay, Maria, you've talked enough. I've got to go." But there's still 300 and something people in here now.
Oh my goodness.
But
Nice.
yeah, Odd Thomas, that's the one. Odd Thomas,
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
That's a good movie.
They
Yes.
did a great job in the book and the movie, and so thank you, because it would have driven me crazy. Bruce, anything you want to add for those who are still in here, to tell us why they should come see you or listen
Well,
to
if you like horror, if you like sci-fi, if you like mystery, our program really has all of that. And we do something a little bit different each week, depending on who the guest is, depending on which movies we're going to be talking about. But we really do try to run the gamut of horror and sci-fi with what we do. And we look at the history of it. We're fascinated, I think, by that, along with the contemporary genre as well. So it's if that sounds like something that would be of interest to you, I think you might enjoy the show. We've got 75 episodes that we've done. They're all on Podbean, and most of those episodes are up on YouTube, with the exception of just a couple. But there's some great stuff out there. Tracy does a wonderful job putting all these up on these various sites, making them available. So it's something that can provide some entertainment for you if you've got some time to listen, to watch, and you enjoy this kind of material, this kind of content. Might be worthwhile to give it a listen. So that's what we hope people will do.
Very well said. Very well said. And Miss Tracy, how about you?
Oh, well, you'll definitely learn something every single week. I know I do. Whether it's through the research I do to prep for the show or just something from the guest, there's not an episode that I'm left bored or didn't learn a single thing. So
Mhm.
it's for educational purposes for sure too, with fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. It is. I'm so happy and proud of you for doing this. It has been very, very entertaining to watch. I love it. You do learn a lot. You walk away with a lot of information. And when I know, I know we have a huge geek community, guys, but um, there are some things that people share in their reviews or whatever that are way, way on the technical side and really geeky, which is awesome for the geeksters, the ultra mega geeksters. Um, but what you guys are sharing is not so much on the over our head technical side. It is, there are things that we have always wanted to know too, but never could ask, or wanted to know, but didn't know we wanted to know.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference when you watch your shows and they have your, you know, you have your guests and everything like that, is that you're getting that extra, that little extra that you were left wanting. And I like that. So let me see. I'm gonna just make sure I've got everybody in here. On the chat.
Mm.
And we have the links there again to the podcast for you to subscribe to. I was trying to see if I was trying to get the other screen to come over, but he's a little shy.
Mhm.
I'm afraid to touch any buttons now since it's been a while. They might have changed things around a little bit. Let me see. Just making sure I've got everything. And I guess a last plug for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire for you. You know
I will do
what?
that, and I will come back with the conversation.
That'd be awesome. It'd be great to have you, stop by again sometime as well. Especially if it adds to something special I'm doing. I know. I think I'm not sure if you remember Tracy. Once in a while, I've had Cameron on,
Yes, yes.
and his big thing, film and movie, since he is the a writer and producer himself, and he is working on a Marilyn Monroe documentary right
Oh,
now.
nice.
I got to see the script, and it's good, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I think he would be. He would probably love to be able to come on sometime and chat about some of those things with y'all. Um, I know, right? I have to talk to him and get him back on here, especially Marilyn's Ghost. Yeah,
Mm.
it's he's awesome. Every time he goes to her gravesite, he calls. He's like, "Say hi to Marilyn." I'm like, "Hey, Marilyn."
Ah,
Yeah, it's really nice. But anyway, so guys, oh my goodness, there's still a bunch of people in here. I'm so glad that you all stayed with us to the very end of the show, because it has been so good to be with you again, Miss Tracy here, and Bruce, meeting you. And I hope you enjoyed yourself as well. That
it's been
wasn't too
so
over
much
the
Yes.
top.
fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Maria. We really appreciate you having us on. And as always, Tracy, good to see you.
Oh, you too. And it's been a blast. So thank you so much, Maria. It's nice to see everybody. I recognize a lot of the names in the chat too. So, it's good. It feels homey. So thank you.
Feels like home. Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't lying when I said I was still picking on this all night. I still am. It's driving me nuts. I'm trying to maintain my patience here, but I don't know where it's at. And it's, oh gosh. Anyway, you guys, it's been very, very good to have you here. I'm gonna in the show. I'm trying not to get all verklempt and emotional and stuff like that, but it was a special treat to have you be with me in my first stream of January. And and to come back and have it feel like home again, like you said,
Mhm.
Tracy. It feels comforting. And look at me, I'm getting all emotional. Stop it. And I guess it's because of the reason I was gone for a while. And I think that you find that when you connect with people, it helps.
Yeah.
It heals you. So I needed that. Stop it, Maria.
No,
I'm such
but
a
it's
girl.
but it's good, Maria. And connecting with people is amazing, and you do such a great job with it. So
Thank you. So do you. So do you.
thank you.
And I'm so proud of you guys. And thank you for stopping by. And I got to stop before I get all too emotional here. Okay. Gosh.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here, for my guests, and for all of you in the chat. And for those of you still lurking back there, thanks for coming by. Always appreciated. Have a very wonderful evening, guys.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Thank you.